Hello, friends, and happy fall. You know what that means? Today, there's a guy that's running his chainsaw just outside of my office here. Been going on for the last 4 hours. I hope it does not disrupt. But it is like tis the season to be cutting trees down, apparently. Tis the season for a lot of the fall favorite, absolutely favorite season. Yours? Or should I say autumn? Autumn. Right? To be more proper. Autumn. I love the smells of autumn. Do you love the smells? We just pulled out the crock pot. Do you have crock pots? Don't know where you're coming in, where you're tuning in from, but yeah, in Minnesota, we have crock pots. And yeah, we prepare our meals at night with our morning granola and yogurt, and we're like filling the crock pot, and you put it on low and it simmers and does all the good things, and the kitchen just smell. The dog has the best day ever because the kitchen is just like so aromatic. Mm. Tis the most wonderful season of all. Yeah, I played football back in the day, spent a lot of time on the gridiron, um high school and in college. Never really, after playing it, never really got into watching it, but I I watched the Monday night game last night. Go Skol Vikings. Yes. Got the kid. I think he's still losing teeth. We're not This is not a live to talk about sports, but I'm just I was just absolutely gobstopped with how horrible this kid played and how much time and attention we've been putting into just goobering over him as our as the Minnesota Vikings, the savior of scoring touchdowns. I just thought, oh goodness sakes, here we go again. Um, but you know what? Second half, the, the kid was hot tonight or last night. Remember that Lover Boy song? Yeah, yeah, and turned it around. Sorry, Bears fans, did it to you again. I'm I love all of you in Bear Country. But I guess that's a right. Okay, enough on sports. We do have a topic today. I'm going to get to it shortly. I usually have a bottle in front of me. Today, here it is, Columbia Gorge. Okay, this is like circa 2019 at an event there. I'll keep I'll keep throwing water. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. Yeah, send me your campus water bottle, and yeah, I'll take a few swigs out of it in your honor. Here's to the gorge. Huh? One for the gorge. Actually, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a crazy beautiful campus in Oregon. Oregon. You got to learn how to say it right if you go on a visit there. But yeah, let's do that. If you're listening in and you want to send me a water bottle, this is not. I'm not soliciting anything. It's just I'm poking at how we might have some fun, a little more fun, because today's topic, it's pretty heavy. They usually are, because my goodness, if we're doing important work on purpose, worthy work, it's always kind of it's got some gravitas to it, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It does. So I'm about to share something that might make you just kind of squirm. Yes, even in those cool fall, what is the colors of fall? Just kind of a khaki brown pair of trousers that you're wearing in that chair. Yeah, might make you squirm a little bit. So fair warning. But it also could, I think, save you some heartache in June. Um, and you could start doing some things right now, very, very practically. So here's the scenario. Let me lay it out for you. Last Tuesday, let's just say 7:45 p.m. Professor Chen sat in her office after her first graduate seminar kickoff of the seminar or of the semester. She wasn't reviewing her syllabi. She was prepping for the next lecture, which great educators are doing all the time, always preparing. But she's also drafting a resignation letter for May. And here's the kicker. Dr. Chen had just received last spring the University Excellence in Teaching Award. It doesn't quite line up, does it? I think the brutal truth is that nobody wants to talk about, during kind of fall, welcome back, kickstart in the new year, while you're giving those inspirational speeches and you're going around working through transitions, fresh starts, rah Friday nights with your best educators in both K-12 and higher ed, because it's happening. Many of your people are already counting down the days until they can leave, split like taillights out of the parking lot. And most of us have no idea it's really even happening. Right. So if you're playing defense right now, that's normal. And I get it. It's okay. Every great leader I know has had that gut punch where you just lose your most treasured staff member and they just secretively kind of walk out the back door. Unfortunately, sometimes when you have to like pull some of your weeds, you know what I'm talking about? The wrong people on your campus, and you tirelessly are working towards, I hope you're pulling weeds as well, boss. Okay. Because your community and your students deserve it. But those are the type of leaders that are, they're throwing parades out in your front yard, to get everybody's attention while they're getting poked. But not your best ones, your highest capacity players. You're sneaking out the back door. Your right people, when they leave, there's something wrong, right? So here's what's really at stake. You've got all your welcome back photos and celebrations and social pics, and you're celebrating your numbers and all of those things while there's an exodus being planned, maybe in your faculty lounges or your teacher workrooms across your institution. The cost isn't just losing good educators, it's losing the very people who could transform your entire system, because we are on the precipice right now. If you are in a public or private system of education, I'm telling you what, we have 1 year to get it more right. This is the transit. This is a topic for another time, and it's going to be really heavy. But literally, we have 1 year to figure this thing out, okay? Because our students are not going to wait for us. Many are already sending the clarion call. Nope, going to do it this way. Nope, there's more innovative ways that I can get what I need, and it ain't you. Yeah, so we've got 1 year to figure it out. In fact, I'm hosting a roundtable. I'm not soliciting it because I'm handpicking the people, but just so you know, grabbing some of the brightest minds from pre-K all the way to PhD, saying, how do we disrupt this pipeline? Because if we're going to stand behind our scholarly everything, our kind of this starch veneer of history, it's just driving right past us, and we oftentimes don't even know, and we become the victims. So let me just hit you with some data that maybe is going to shake your snow globe up a little bit. So I was reading through the Chronicle of Higher Ed. Okay, 73% of your faculty are considering leaving academia entirely. It's amazing where just the places they'll go. Yeah, do your own sniffing around. Why are people leaving education? Is it that they're being pulled away by something more enticing? Or is it that they're just being pushed out because it's just not working anymore for them? K-12, same thing. Many of them who feel really just the most engaged during your professional development days because they're still leaders. They are your leaders. But oftentimes they're like 3 times more likely to be actively on jobhunter.com or whatever the site is. Yeah. Then you're even more so than your visibly struggling colleagues. If you see people visibly struggling, they're not the issue. You see the ones that are kind of comfortably smiling and nodding, and that they're kind of the linchpins of their grade level, of their department, of their division. Yeah, think about that. Your star performers, um, they're probably updating their CVs while you're updating that strategic plan of yours. So 3 weeks ago, I was actually leading a very interesting engagement between K-12 and higher ed. It was a retreat. We had school principals in the room. We had college deans in the room. We had a provost in the room. Um, and during lunch, the provost pulled me aside and said, "Joe, hey, we just learned that two of our most published faculty members have been quietly interviewing with a tech company. They were both going to the same tech company. But they all seemed to be really excited during convocation and just wondered, what the heck are we missing?" So I asked one simple question, and I'm not always the one that just comes up with I am simple, that's for sure, but I'm not always the one that comes up with the most but this one just came to me. I said, when was the last time you asked them what their first week reality felt like? Did you do that last year? Did you do that the year before? Did you ask for feedback to say, hey, how did this because first impressions for every year are so important, aren't they? A lot of silence on the other end. Yeah, so here's kind of that September pattern. I see it everywhere from elementary schools to region to R1 universities, Research One universities. We've created cultures where fresh starts kind of mean just pretending last year's problems disappeared over summer. Like, yes. Yeah, orientation week is about appearances, not authenticity, where the educators who need the most support are the ones who they're just smiling during the welcome back events. When your best educators leave, the September hope turns into that June heartbreak for you because it's hard to fill quality teaching roles. And department morale, it crumbles if you lose the right leader. Innovation dies before probably midterms, right? And the educators who remain start their own exit timelines because they're seeing it and it just builds some momentum, right? There's a term for it. It's not coming to me right now. Yeah, it's a contagion, right? Hmm. So how many of you are just leading kind of the fun fall gathering stuff, right? Even this week, while you're just sensing something's kind of off. First sign. Yeah, how many notice faculty or staff, teachers who used to volunteer for everything, they're now just staying kind of quiet during committee signups? Yeah, how many of you are celebrating the new year while ignoring the exhaustion that still lingers? Do you remember last year? Yeah. Here's what I've discovered just studying K-12 and higher education is what organizational psychologists call that September mirage. It's destroying education from preschool all the way through graduate school. Dr. Allen's work, it's in the references here. You'll see it. It was a multi-institutional study. It reveals something absolutely shocking where educators who experience those false fresh starts, that's a thing. That's a thing. Just false fresh starts where optics ain't real, right? Where just system issues, they're masked by just the new year enthusiasm, rah, rah. Yeah, those places are 5 times more likely to develop chronic disengagement by October. Mm-hmm. Happy fall. K-12, the numbers jumped almost 7 times. Community colleges, for whatever reason, even more so. So you can look up that work, but I think it's quite compelling. Here's what's happening in your educators' brains right now. That cognitive dissonance between it's just the new year, the new possibilities, the fireworks smoke that still might be a remnant in the air. Those messages and unchanged system problems, they trigger what neuroscientists call that anticipatory burnout, right? Where your brains literally start protecting them from hope, which is such a dangerous thing because hope has been weaponized against them. Here's the translation, because maybe it's a little murky for you. Your most innovative educators, they stop innovating before Halloween. Ooh, 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 ah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a for real thing. Stanford Center for Education Policy. Uh, there was some analysis that came out tracking 15,000 educators across both K-12 and higher ed. Those who felt performance positively in terms of just where things were going the right direction during back to school season were leaving at rates 400% times higher than in institutions that acknowledged ongoing challenges. So we're just systematically losing our best because we've made this September optimism mandatory instead of more authentic. Is this point kind of getting through? It kind of explains everything that I've been seeing. It wasn't about summer recovery. It was about just fresh starts. It was about what I've called rhythmic intelligence. It's the ability to honor the natural cycles of the educator energy because we all have it, while also addressing those persistent system challenges because we all have those, right? So when you lack that rhythmic intelligence, September kind of feels like just that you've got your award-winning professors that are mentally planning sabbaticals um, that become kind of almost like resignations in their minds. You've got elementary teachers that smile through orientation and they're updating their LinkedIn profiles. You've got committee volunteers that, from last year to this year, mysteriously, they're just, I'm too busy this year. Is this hitting pretty close to home? You've got professional development attendance that feels more like, got to check the box and how long do we have to be here, boss? Yeah. Yeah. And that just growing gap between welcome week enthusiasm and just the October, because it's coming, exhaustion. Yeah. Then I witnessed a superintendent and a university president. Here's where it gets really good. They were doing something quite counterintuitive during their welcome back events that actually transformed their entire culture by Thanksgiving. I watched this happen last year. So, August faculty orientation at this college. The president steps up to the podium. You can hear the microphone. But instead of the kind of that best year ever speech, she said something that just got everybody's attention because they weren't expecting it. It was surprising. She said, "Hey, before we talk about this year's possibilities and before we strike up the band over there, I really want to acknowledge what's still broken from last year." Who does that? I'm not sure her board of education, her regents, whatever. I'm not sure they were wildly excited about her doing that. But meanwhile, you've got a superintendent down the road who opened his district address with, "You know what? I spent the summer shadowing 3 of our very best, and let me tell you what I learned. It was so valuable. People are like leaning in." And this is the reality, said that you're walking back into. Both leaders implemented what I call reality recognition rituals. Instead of just pretending summer fixed everything, the president said, I know adjunct faculty are still teaching at 3 colleges just to pay rent. I know our tenured track faculty are drowning in the service obligations of the campus. Well, fake smiling, right? I know staff are just doing basically 3 jobs for 1 salary. Gulp. And the superintendent, I know that 3rd grade teachers are spending 4 hours weekly on just data entry. And folks, we got 1 year to figure that out. Mhm. Mhm. That high school faculty have 180 students, but 45-minute planning periods. And elementary specialists are teaching in closets we call classrooms. Simple, just simple stuff, honest. I don't know if it's revolutionary, but boots on the ground, right? That September truth that'll ruffle feathers. We don't have an educator shortage. We have an honesty shortage. I'm going to put that into a clip and just play that over and over and over again. Our brand is deteriorating, I think, because we've got an honesty shortage. We're so addicted to that, just that fresh start. It's kind of a mythology, right? That we've forgotten that humans that live with yesterday's unresolved problems become kind of disgruntled humans. And we've got enough of those that are still in education. Yeah, what these leaders discover is that it aligns with Dr. Adam Grant's research on organizational authenticity. If you haven't studied any of his work, podcasts, books, all the stuff. Yeah, grant yourself some grant space. Yeah, when leaders acknowledge that we have persistent challenges before they promote the new initiatives, it kind of activates these trust centers in the brains. It creates that genuine buy-in instead of just that performance compliance. Like, here we go. Fake it again, boys. Yep. So let me put September reality in perspective. The average K-12 teacher makes 1,500 decisions every single day. University faculty, they juggle an average of 7 distinct roles as part of their job. Now multiply that complexity by pretending last year's systemic issues just vanished over the summer. Just like my tan lines have vanished in the fall. Yeah. That's not leadership. That's gaslighting. That really is, with kind of good intentions. So that protocol that transforms your institutions, I think welcome back truth sessions are really important. If it's too late because, wow, we're already 3 weeks into this thing, it's not too late. Why don't you circle back with what didn't get fixed over this summer that needs to be acknowledged? And list them, just the persistent challenges, list them publicly. Let your staff know that you're not just agreeing with it, you're doing something about it. And then commit to just addressing one systemic issue, because they're all complex, right? You can only hold so many bowling balls, boss. So make one your priority by October, and let people see objectively that you're starting to move in that direction. So very important to just get back in the game, boss, right? You can put those fancy suits away and put your real work clothes on. It's all practical gold, but I think what matters most is educators will stop pretending everything else was fine, and their brains will start probably putting the right stuff back in. So you're going to get them more brilliant than busy this year. Yeah. So I think, if you continue just to have this best year ever posture, charade, we'll call it, just call it a charade this September, I think here's the inevitable June outcome. Your best educators, they're going to submit their resignations because there's so many things in education right now that are leading to just dread and burnout. And there are so many people out there that want to hire just the skill set and talent that you have. And they'll cite maybe personal reasons or new opportunities. Don't you like that one? And you'll never really know the truth that could have kept them. So that personal cost is devastating. You'll spend all next summer just wondering why you couldn't retain the talent and trying to figure out how you're going to fill it with not even a wet spot in the talent pool, right? And you're going to waste resources on recruitment while just that wisdom has split, right? You'll watch just the passionate educators become September cynics because hope became a weapon instead of a tool. I mean that with all heartfelt love, boss. It should haunt us in October, right? When great educators leave, they take that institutional memory, they take student relationships, right? They take the innovative capacity, they take it with them. Now, it's all good if somebody's making maybe not a lateral move or just moving to another institution because they're looking at some potentials. That's awesome. But every teacher that quietly exits is hundreds of students losing perhaps a champion. Right? Every faculty member who escapes has been an advocate for life change for others. So do the math, right? How many students do your people impact? Yeah. In K-12, how many is that? In a community college, how many is that? And in a university setting, how many students are your highest capacity people influencing? Now, when that educator leaves after 2 years instead of 20, you've lost tens of thousands of transformational moments. That's not attrition. That's institutional amnesia. It ain't coming back. Right? Now imagine September differently. Picture just welcome back events where honesty creates that energy instead of just draining it. Right? Envision October faculty meetings where people share solutions because leaders acknowledge problems in August, right? Imagine December retention data that makes other institutions ask, what the? What's your secret? It's not that hard, folks. You see your parking lot still full of cars because your best educators are collaborating with each other, not escaping. Picture exit interviews that become more stay conversations, just infused with honesty and dignity. Yeah, visualize just a waiting list of educators that want to join your institution because word spreads. Your brand tells the truth out there. The question isn't how do we create that September enthusiasm? You got it or you don't. The question is how do you create sustainable cultures that make those June goodbyes absolutely unnecessary? Yeah, it is possible today to start working on your best leader intentions. You don't owe that perfect, you don't owe anyone that perfect September facade. You owe your educators the kind of authentic leadership that makes them want to sign up again and again. So, right now, before tomorrow's meeting, I want you to take one action that might shift that September trajectory. Okay, send a message to your team. And it doesn't matter when you started your academic year. Think about it. You might want to write this down. It's that good. I actually did this last week with the team. So cut and copy this. As we start this new year, I want to acknowledge that some challenges from last year, they're still with us. I'd value your honest input. What's one thing that didn't get fixed over this summer that we need to address? You can memorize this, right? And say, your honesty will help me lead better. Talk about sign me up because I'm a fanny, right? I'm a fanny of this leader that's going to step up and say it, and then send it. Send it now. Send it. As we start this new year, I want to acknowledge what didn't get fixed over the summer. I honestly value your input. What's one thing that didn't get fixed over the summer that we need to address? And please, your honesty will help me lead better. Again, where do I sign up, boss? Where's that committee that I bypassed yesterday? Just watch the authentic engagement replace that performative positivity. But I want to give you something more comprehensive. Uh, I've created something called the September Reality Assessment that reveals where your institution excels at authentic leadership and where false positivity is kind of driving away your best talent. Um, yeah, I'll share that. It's actually in the description of this live today, so you can see that. It's the TQ assessment. But you stand at this September crossroads and you got the corn maze perhaps that you're looking at. Again, I love fall. You can continue to just have that fresh start facade, watching your best educators just mentally check out by midterms, or you can develop that rhythmic intelligence that honors both hope and honesty. So look for these urgent signals. If you've got quieter than usual participation from your best people, warning, warning, right? If you have veteran educators avoiding the committee commitments where normally they're signing up, or if you, I don't know how it's phrased where you come from, but what I hear often is, let's just see how this year goes. That's code word for I'm just going to play pretty passive most of the year, boss. Uh-huh. If any of those sound familiar, you're not alone and you're definitely not stuck. Please, no, you're not stuck. Institutions mastering that September authenticity are reporting just a huge reduction in surprise resignation and an increase in innovative program proposals where your people are like working on the side going, hey, I'd like to whip up some new ideas. Or you've got educators that are just feeling just genuinely supported and they're going to tell you so. And you've got waiting lists for both student enrollment and faculty positions. Your HR department has a full file. Maybe it's electronic file, but it's filled with people saying, I want to work here. I know you don't have an opening yet, but when you do, or I want to go to school here. Right. But this is beyond metrics, right? They create cultures where September hope comes from honesty, not hype. Your best people see right through that hype and they can't look at their brains any harder. Like, look for that too. Looking at my brain. Gosh. Yeah. So research shows, we're going to bring this into a landing. It's the 60% rule. Teams operate at just nearly half of their capacity. Not from lack of talent, but lack of team intelligence. In education, that gap explodes every September when individual brilliance collides with that collective, I haven't caught my breath yet, boss. I'm going to encourage you to take the 5-minute team intelligence assessment. It's in the description. You'll see it in the description. Take it yet this September. You register your team for this. It's absolutely free. It's going to help you reveal. In fact, this morning I just walked a team through this, the team leader through the summary report. It gives a good sniff of the cognitive diversity score and why September optimism just keeps kind of failing away. It also gives the specific intelligent gaps that are causing that retention crisis. So you make it objective. Anything accidental in our world is so at risk. So if there's anything subjective where you're just like, it's kind of habitual, we've done it this way all the time, and I just don't understand why things are changing. It also gives you that pathway from September survival to a success system that you can sustain over time. So take a look at that. And I strongly encourage you. It's free, no cuesta nada. And high value. Everybody that has taken it has shared just deep gratitude for the level of awareness that this brings to the team table. I think teams with balanced cognitive representation, they're going to achieve faster problem solving and much higher retention rates. It only makes sense. Um, but if you repeat the same September patterns because you're measuring just individual performance, everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that, but not the collective intelligence. Yeah, that's where we got 1 year to figure this out, right? I hope you're not tuning in right now because you don't know what I'm talking about. But this is our decisive year, folks. Yeah. So your educators aren't leaving. Your best ones aren't leaving because they lack dedication. They're leaving because your team lacks that framework to transform individual struggles into that collective solution. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. That is brain science. Take the assessment. You can find the link at our website, higherperformancegroup.com. You'll see it in the description. Check that out. Build your September reality, just the objective truth, right? Your ground truth. And you're going to keep your best people. I don't promise, but I've seen it. I've seen it at other campuses. So before you go, hey, if this stream just kind of opened up your eyes to this September myths that might be damaging your culture, hit the like button, subscribe to this thing, do what all the kids do. I don't always understand what happens backstage, but you get this better than I do. So do the thing. But here's the thing. If you're ready to design specific September strategies, because this does get to be kind of complex for your unique context. I'm working with the campus right now that they have to be so outward facing because they're running a large campaign that means everything right now. And you just need just some time to come out of the wind and the waves, and let's have a little snack. Let's have a virtual coffee together. That link is also in the description. It's no pitch, no agenda, just two people that care about education, talking about how to make this year actually different. So I hope you're starting to see how that September optimism might be masking just your serious retention risks. Go ahead and just drop whatever you're doing right now and write down a few notes of insights from our time together. I want to just thank you. Thanks for tuning in again today. Just remember that great leaders don't promise perfect years. They create honest cultures. That's your role. If you are the leader, the most important thing that you do is create healthy culture, because that thing takes care of all the rest of the things. So stop pretending that September solved everything. Your kickoff solved everything. That PowerPoint solved everything. That keynote speaker, tell me again what the theme was. I bet you've forgotten it. Just start acknowledging what still needs solving, right? Your honesty might be the only thing standing between excellence and exodus, right? Your legacy isn't in the welcome back speeches, boss. It is really in the June retention rates that prove that September honesty actually works. What didn't get fixed over the summer that needs to be addressed? I hope you wrote that down. Hope you wrote that down. Now take the bold commitment and send it out. I think it was Walt Disney that said, "We instill hope again and again, but real hope comes from honesty, not hype." Peace, friends. That's not just leadership. That's September courage. Bring it. And we're going to celebrate greatly with you in June. Take good care.